Welcome in, everyone. We are so excited you're joining us for a very special deep dive today.
Yes, thank you so much for being here with us.
Our mission today is, well, it's essentially to explore the psychology of your daily life. We're talking self-improvement, motivation, and just how to survive the day-to-day. And we're also going to naturally pick up some really fantastic English vocabulary along the way.
Which is great because we've got a mountain of notes on human behavior and habit building.
Oh, a literal mountain. We're going to synthesize all of it into a really actionable, hopefully highly entertaining masterclass for you. So whether you're commuting to work, doing the dishes, or, just hiding under a blanket, avoiding your responsibilities right now, you are in the exact right place.
Absolutely, because, life transformation doesn't happen in some dramatic, sweaty movie montage. It really happens in the tiny, boring, beautiful daily choices we make.
Right. But let's start with a scenario we all know too well. The morning battle. The alarm goes off. You hit snooze. It goes off again. You hit snooze again. By the third time, you are staring at the ceiling, feeling like an absolute zombie. Like your brain is actively drafting a formal resignation letter to life.
Oh, I've been there so many times.
Right. I literally looked at my coffee maker taking too long this morning and thought, I quit coffee. I quit mornings. I'm going back to bed. So let's unpack this paradox. Why do we have these massive, color-coded, incredibly ambitious goals for our lives? But when it's time to actually do the thing, the sofa suddenly becomes the most comfortable place on earth.
Well, it's fascinating because it's not you being broken. Our brains actually love big dreams, but they passionately hate big effort.
Wait, really? It hates the effort.
Totally. Looking at a massive goal is essentially like being asked to run a 42-kilometer marathon with zero warm-up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no thanks.
Right. The brain calculates the energy required for that marathon, gets completely overwhelmed, and just shuts down. It hits the emergency brake.
So it's basically a self-preservation mechanism. The mountain looks too high, so the brain just says, don't even pack your boots.
Exactly.
Which perfectly explains why so many of us end up living on what we call in English autopilot. You're just going through the motions without thinking.
You wake up, you go to work, you stare at a screen, you sleep.
Yeah, and before you know it, you've fallen into a rut. That's a great vocabulary word, a rut. It means you're stuck in a boring, repetitive situation and you just can't seem to get out of it.
And when you're in that rut, you are so much more vulnerable to time thieves.
Oh, time thieves. I love that term.
Yeah, they are those sneaky little habits that just steal your hours without giving you any joy or progress in return.
And the undisputed king of the time thieves is definitely doom scrolling.
Oh, 100%.
Just sitting there on the edge of the bed, swiping through endless negative news or random videos until your thumbs ache. It completely drains your energy.
It leaves you entirely empty.
No.
But people always use the same excuse for it. They say, well, I'll start working on my goals when I'm motivated.
Which is, waiting for motivation is like relying on public Wi-Fi in the middle of a desert.
That is the perfect analogy.
It's flaky, it's frustrating, and it rarely shows up when you actually need it. So if motivation is basically garbage, how do we hack the brain? How do we find that boring magic of discipline?
You use the Zeigarnik effect.
Okay, the Zeigarnik effect. Tell us about that.
So psychologists found that the human brain absolutely hates unfinished tasks. It creates this mental itch. So the trick is to actually not aim to finish your goal.
Wait, don't aim to finish. That sounds backward.
I know, but if you aim to finish, you get that marathon overwhelm again. So you just aim to start. You tell yourself, I am only going to write the first sentence of this email.
Oh, I see. And then once you write the sentence, the brain is like, well, we can't just leave it unfinished now.
Exactly. It pulls you forward. You just trick it into starting.
That is brilliant. And speaking of hacking the brain, there's this mind-blowing trick I found in the research about past tense planning. Have you heard of this?
Yes. Writing your to-do list like it already happened.
Right. So instead of writing, I need to finish the report, which sounds super stressful, you write it in the past tense. You write, I finished the report and I felt great.
It's so clever because you're feeding your brain a vision of success instead of a stressful mountain of demands.
Exactly. And it lowers the barrier to entry, which really ties into this concept of pocket time.
Right, pocket time. Those random 5 minutes you have while waiting for the bus or brewing coffee.
We usually just pull out our phones and doom scroll. But if you use those small coins of time to read 2 pages of a book or listen to this deep dive, those little moments compound into massive results.
Because discipline really isn't about military punishment. It's just keeping small promises to yourself. You use the habit loop cue, routine, reward.
Yeah. But we need to talk about the energy you bring to that routine. Because in English, we have a great phrase for when you do something with only like 30% of your energy. We call it being half-hearted. Like going to the gym, but just sitting on the equipment looking at your phone. Exactly. It's half-hearted. But the opposite of that, the goal is to be relentless.
Relentless. That's a powerful word.
It really is. It doesn't mean you're working yourself to death. It just means you're consistent. Like that amazing anecdote about the language student.
Oh, the one who was terrified of speaking.
Yeah. She didn't study for 4 hours a day. She just sent a 30-second voice note in English every single day for 30 days.
You made it non-negotiable.
Exactly. Non-negotiable. It wasn't up for debate. She just did it. But, and this is a big, but sometimes you do all of this, right? You do the habits, you use your pocket time, you are relentless, and you still wake up feeling totally lost.
Which is such a painful place to be.
It's awful. It feels like you're in this giant green maze, and everyone else seems to have a map, but you are just bumping into walls with empty hands.
But the really interesting insight here is that feeling lost isn't a failure. It's actually a quiet alarm clock.
An alarm clock? How so?
It means your inner compass has drifted. We spend so much time walking the safe path to please the noisy market of other people's opinions. You know, our parents, society, the internet.
Right, we're living someone else's script.
Exactly. And we ignore our own values. So feeling lost just means you need to recalibrate.
But people hate that feeling. It's like a loading screen on a computer, and the uncertainty just gives us so much anxiety.
Because the brain hates uncertainty.
Right.
But we have to reframe that. Uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's just an empty room waiting to be decorated.
I love that. An empty room. And to help figure out how to decorate it, there's this great concept called the Lost and Found journal.
Yes, the 2 columns.
Right. So on the left side, you write down a moment where you felt totally stuck or lost. And on the right side, you write down what you actually found in that moment.
Like finding patience, or a new friend, or just courage.
Yeah, it helps you process that feeling of being on the fence. That's another great English idiom. Being on the fence means you're stuck in the middle, you can't make a decision.
And being on the fence is exhausting.
It really is. So this journal acts as a wake-up call. It shakes you out of it and helps you decide to flip the script on your own life story.
Flipping the script. Changing the narrative from I'm stuck to I'm in control.
Exactly. But eventually, and this is where it gets scary, you have to actually step out into the world and communicate this new version of yourself.
Whether that's making friends, asking for a promotion, or speaking a new language like English.
Right. And there's a phrase I absolutely love for this. Messy action saves dreams.
Oh, that's incredibly true.
Because planning is so often just fear wearing a really nice costume. You have to step out of your comfort zone before it turns into a cage.
Especially with language. People think speaking English is just a mental exercise, but it's actually muscle memory. Your jaw, your tongue, they have to physically practice the sounds.
Which is why the bathroom mirror is your best friend.
Yes. The mirror is the safest practice space.
Just talk to yourself out loud. But of course, eventually you have to talk to real people. And people ask me all the time, how do I handle the panic of talking to a total stranger?
And the secret is, you really don't need a deep philosophical topic.
No, you just notice the environment. If you're stuck in a ridiculously long line for coffee, you don't ask the person next to you about their childhood trauma.
Right, please don't do that.
You just joke about the line. You say something like, I feel like I'm waiting for concert tickets.
Which is the perfect icebreaker.
Yes, an icebreaker, a little comment that breaks the social tension. And once you do that, your only job is to read the room.
Reading the room is such an essential skill.
It really is. It means paying attention to the mood and the body language of the people around you, not just staring at the dictionary in your head.
You're listening for the subtext.
The subtext. Explain that one because it's so important.
Subtext is the meaning behind the words. Someone might say, oh, I'm fine. But there's subtext, their tone of voice, their crossed arms is screaming, I'm actually having a terrible day.
And you can only catch the subtext if you are listening with intent. Most of us just wait for our turn to reply. We aren't really listening.
We're just rehearsing our next sentence.
Exactly. But if you actually focus on the other person, your social anxiety just melts away. Now, all of this, the discipline, the confidence, the communication, it will all completely crash if your foundation is rotten.
Which brings us to the most important part, protecting your energy.
Because if your inner critic is a bully, none of this works.
That inner critic can be so loud. But you have to remember, your worth is not up for discussion. You cannot connect your value to external validation.
Right. Validation from other people is nice, but it shouldn't be your fuel. Letting one negative comment from a stranger ruin your day it's literally like giving a stranger a remote control to your feelings.
Why would you hand over the remote?
Exactly. Don't let them change your channel. But we do it all the time because of the sorry habit.
Oh, apologizing for everything.
Yes. Sorry for breathing, sorry for taking up space, sorry to bother you. We shrink ourselves just to make other people comfortable.
And that turns you into a chronic people pleaser.
A people pleaser, yes. Someone who sacrifices their own needs just to keep everyone else happy. And the cure for that is boundaries.
But we need to rethink boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls. They are doors.
A door. That's a really beautiful way to put it.
Right, because you control the door. You decide who gets to come into your life and who stays outside.
And that door applies to your information diet, too.
Oh, massively.
You have to treat educational deep dives and good books like healthy food and endless internet drama like junk food.
Because if you just eat junk food, you end up with burnout.
Burnout. That total physical and emotional exhaustion. But if you curate your diet and you set your boundaries, you build the ability to bounce back.
Bouncing back is the ultimate goal. It's resilience. You fail, but you don't stay down.
You celebrate the small wins and you keep going. So let's just recap the journey we've been on today. We started by ditching that zombie morning autopilot.
We hacked the brain with Paskin's to-do lists.
We learned how to use the mirror to build muscle memory and how to break the ice without overthinking it.
And finally, we locked the door to protect our energy from the time thieves.
It's a lot to take in, but honestly, I want to say congratulations to you, the listener. By simply pressing play today, by showing up for yourself to learn and reflect, you've already proven that you have the momentum to change.
You didn't hit snooze on your own life today. And that is huge.
It really is. So, I want to leave you with one final, lingering question to think about. We often suffer from this thing called the end of history illusion. We think who we are right now is the final, finished version of ourselves. But what if the person you're going to be in 5 years is currently a total stranger? And what if the one tiny, messy, imperfect action you've been terrified to take today is actually the only bridge to that future self you've been dreaming of?
Don't let that future self down.
Absolutely not.